Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really sweet, cute gift card holder, or you could use one of these little money envelopes in there to give the gift of cash. And I thought this was really pretty. It's a double happiness money envelope from artneco.com. They're our sponsor today, and we're actually going to use a bunch of different stamps for them. And the stamps we're using are actually from a set, and there are a lot of like fun backgrounds. Like this is a quatrefoil background. There's polka dot ribbon, polka dot frames, a generic polka dot background, plus you get hearts, bow, ribbons. This one right here on the back, it's hard to see with red rubber, but it's got like a little, almost like a address label place or a name tag or gift tag area in it, which would be really cute at Christmas time. And I'll grab that main polka dot too so you can see that. It's excellent because it's just like a generic polka dot that you can actually keep stamping and make a seamless design with. So I think those are really, really handy and useful stamps to have. We're only going to use a couple ones from this set, but I just wanted to show you that in case it's more valuable for you to have a set or individually. They're available both ways, but you'll know what is going to be better suited to you. And of course, just some simple embellishing, and it, you know, it's actually a really easy card to make. And I just love how it's got this little pop-up feature. So, you know, someone goes to open the card and then bam, they got a gift. You gotta love that, right? And I'm going to share I'm going to share a lot of tips as we go through so that everything works great. See, it's just like, boop, gift. So fun. So fun. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get a piece of cardstock, and this piece of cardstock is 3.5 inches by 11 inches. And we are going to score this at 4.5. And I'll put this info in the video description, at 5.5, and at 6.5. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold it up in the middle and fold the two flaps in. So it looks like an M if we have it like that. Now, I'm using the really thick and heavy cardstock by Recollections. It's like 110 pounds. So I was originally just going to punch a couple times with this fancy punch because I've done this before, but it's too thick to use this punch. So what I'm actually going to do is use this die here. So what I want to do is just center it up. Okay, and then just use a little piece of washi tape to hold it down. And if you have a magnetic platform, you still might want the washi tape just because it is really, really thick there. And see how it just wants to raise up, so it can be kind of thick. Actually, this isn't technically washi tape. This is actually a little bit of like a cello tape. I thought it was pretty and decorative though, so I bought it. So we're just gonna put that right there, centered up. I don't want it too far down. And I'm just going to put a little piece of tape to hold it. I'll put the tape on the cutaway part so that way I don't have to worry about it damaging my paper. So I'm just going to feed that right through my die cutter machine, and we'll come back and put the card together. Okay, we're back. I'm going to remove my die here, and it takes a little piece away. You can use any nested shape die that you want. You know, seriously, use whatever shape you like. I like that kind of fancy border frame. I think it's kind of pretty. So then something else I also want to do here at this point is grab a little adhesive. And you can actually use a wet glue or a dry glue, whatever you prefer. And just on both sides, I'm going to close this up, okay? All right, and then I can fold these back for decorating. Okay, and there's the pop-up area. The first time you open it might be a little tricky, okay? But you're also going to notice it will push right through. So if I went and put that card in right now, it could go right through the entire thing, see? So we're going to do like a little spine with some washi tape there in a minute. So just be aware of that. Or you could do pattern paper, a big strip of pattern paper all over the front. So there's another option for you. I apologize if I'm going a little slow. I just want to make sure that, you know, if you're a beginner card maker, that, you know, you can follow along because this is stamp school. So I thought this like flying geese washi paper was really pretty. And I also got a little smudge on my paper while I was running through the die cutter machine. So I thought, oh, perfect. That's where that's going to go. And sometimes I've noticed when I've used like a washi paper, it's soft, almost fabricy, and my adhesive doesn't always want to stick to it. So just kind of know you kind of have to push hard, or just choose a different adhesive, like maybe a peel and stick tape that you just peel a liner, like a liner release tape. And I'm just going to center that up. And I just cut this simply 1/4 inch smaller than my panel. The size of this card will be 3.5 by 4.5 inches. Okay, so However you want to treat the front of this is completely up to you. I thought it would be pretty to do a little stamping, so I'm going to move my my scoring board out of the way, put my little bone folder back on it, because I lose, like, I have to buy those by the dozen, those little folders, I'm always losing them. And I am going to use this pretty design here. Now you've got a couple choices. I wasn't crazy about what I did for the background here. I stamped it in clear embossing ink or glycerin. This is what I just put glycerin on this pad. And then I used my chalks, which are super fancy. I think they were like $4 at Walmart, and a cotton ball just to like color it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I wasn't that keen on that. I thought I wanted a little bit bolder, but I wasn't sure when I was first designing this card. So I think I actually want more color, but not a ton of color. I think I'm going to go in with a couple shades of purple. I've got this pale plum, and I really have to, this is an old ink pad, so it's they kind of get a little dips in the center sometimes, so you really have to kind of turn it around and make sure you get it coated really good. And I think I want to do a little bit of this orchid color around the edges, so I'm just kind of trying to hit the edges. So I'll have a little bit of a mottled look, which is what I was going for with the pastel chalks, but it just didn't quite meet the mark for me. And then something I like to do here is just put the paper down on top, and sometimes that gives me a really great impression. It's an old printmaking technique, and the thing that's nice about it is that you can make sure that pressure gets applied all over your stamped image. Give it a good rub on the back, just make sure you don't move it. And there, we've got a pretty decent image there. Alright, the next thing we want to do is make our spine so our gift card or money envelope doesn't flow out. And I found this is, you can use washi tape. This is actually a cello tape. It was like the Scotch Expressions ones, I think. I just thought that was pretty when I saw it in the store. And I'm going to go right up to the edge of where I stamped. It's a miracle. Look how straight I stamped that. Can you believe it? And I'm just going to wrap it around the back. Actually, I'm going to snip it off first, because this isn't washi tape, it's actually a cello tape, so I do have to cut it. I'll cut the other side here. Bloop. I'll try to anyway. There we go. Ha, cut it. And then I'm just going to flip it over and wrap it around to the back and just press it down really well. And you just make sure you get a tape that's going to stick down pretty well for you. So there we got our little pop-up thing. And then on the inside, I thought it'd be cool to maybe put just, because we have the kind of the washi tape theme there, I've got a stamp that's kind of like a washi tape, this bar is kind of like ribbon. I thought that would be pretty to stamp on the inside, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little more detail. Whenever I'm stamping on this uneven cutting board surface that I like to work on, I put a little sheet of fun foam underneath, and it's nothing fancy. It's like 30 cents a sheet for a big sheet at the craft store, so definitely affordable. I am going to start with my lightest color ink, which is just this light plum color, and I'm only inking up half of my stamp because I don't need all that ink, and I'm just going to stamp it in a little bit. And I mean, actually I probably should have a piece of scrap paper under here because I'm getting ink on that mat, but I kind of forgot about that. But if you do it, just put like a, I don't know, piece of newspaper or something. You can also stamp on a phone book. That works really well. Let that one come in a little bit further. And then I'm going to go in with my darker purple here and ink it all up. Just remember, dance it around the ink pad. I'll show you here. Dance it around the ink pad if you're using one of these old felt pads, like these Stampin' Up ones, these old Stampin' Up ones, so that way you get ink on all the parts of your stamp. Ink pads have come a long way, boy. Now the ink pads that are coming out now are so good. But there's no need to throw away your old ones. Just take a little more TLC. So then you got plenty of room to write in here, but not so much that you feel like you have to write a novel, which I really like. All right, so now we're going to make our decorations here, and we're going to do a couple different things. We're going to do a marker technique. So I think like right over here, I'm going to stamp these pretty lovebirds. I like it. I thought this was so sweet for a wedding because you've got two sweet little birds. We're also going to stamp a frame, and actually I'll do the frame first so it can have a little more time to dry. And what I have here, and I want to show you this stamp block. Sometimes, like, let me ink this up and show you. I think you can probably see already. But sometimes when we ink, our ink wants to go on the mount, which is the thing that holds our stamp, and it wants to go on the inside or areas that we don't want ink on. Now if I was stamping this with a flat block, and I use flat blocks a lot, if I was doing this on a flat block, it would, that ink could go right onto my paper. And it's not a big deal because we're going to cut this out anyway, but with these curved blocks, the ink it's only the raised areas that transfer the ink. So I really like these, but they do take a learning curve. So if you get some of these, or if you have some and you weren't impressed with them, practice. These take a little while to get used to. These are the Rock Blocks by Crafter's Companion. I happen to like them, but they're not for everyone. But something you can do if your stamping is not perfect is to take a lighter color marker. Like this is dye-based ink, a water-based ink, and this is a water-based marker. And I can go right over and color this. And if I have any like ink that was kind of patchy, it'll help kind of blend that ink. Because really what it's doing is reconstituting the ink underneath. But this marker is not so juicy that it's going to make everything smear, but it will kind of fill in the gaps. And since I'm going to cut it out, I don't have to be really particular with how I color. So for this other technique I'm going to show you with markers, it's really easy. You want to have a couple pretty distinct shades. I tried this one and I used that light color that I just used inside there for one of my colors, and it was too light. So what I'm going to do first is kind of go over most of my image with the lightest of my colors, and it's this kind of like fuchsia pink color. And I like to get a base coat of something down, and you could actually do this with an ink pad. Just make sure it's your lightest color that you're working with so you don't contaminate your other colors. And then I'll go in with my medium, which is this kind of like plum, and I'm just gonna dab here and there. I'm not being fussy with it. Just dab, 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 and then I'm going in with my darkest, which is a dark kind of like eggplant, kind of like the ink pad I just used. And I'm just kind of putting in some random marks. The messier it is, the better. And now I'm just gonna stamp this over here. Oh wait, first, I'm gonna breathe on it. I've got a lot of hot air, so that works out really well. And I'm just gonna roll that on there. So a fairly plain silhouette cutout stamp looks really fantastic because it's got a difference in color and it's just interesting. Now to cut this out, a tip that I have, anytime you're gonna cut out something by hand, is to cut the middle first. And I've just got a metal ruler here, and I'm really hoping it doesn't like show my reflection because I have no makeup on today. Little secret. And I am not one of those confident people that can be awesome and go on camera without makeup. I wish I was, but it ain't happening, folks. Sorry. Well, maybe it will happen someday. I don't know. I might get brave. We'll see. Halloween, maybe. Actually, I probably was on camera without makeup once when I did my Bride of Frankenstein makeup. I probably didn't have makeup on when I started. And we're going to put this last side here. And then to do the outside, you can use your knife, or what I find works really well and is really easy to do is to use like a straight edge office shear, because they have longer blades than your regular craft. Your craft knives that your craft scissors that you would use to fussy cut something, these nice long blades, you can get in a lot of times and cut like an entire edge in one fell swoop, so it just is really easy. And yes, I have my scan and cut, and yes, I've used my scan and cut, and yes, I love my scan and cut, but guess what? This is faster. Straight lines, baby. I can handle straight lines. It's those fancy lines. Like if I was gonna cut around the silhouette of that, I would totally use my scan and cut, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do something different. So then, after you have your frame cut out, you wanna put some dimensional adhesive on the back, like foam tape, and I like this stuff right here. You just wanna go around the entire border with that. Okay, I've already done that step to save a little time. I've got that right here. I still have to peel off all these little backs. And you can get this, instead of little sticky squares or sticky circles, you can actually get tape at the hardware store that's the same material, and just cut it into strips. And I will warn you, like when you do that, it's going to gum your scissors up. So what I would do is take a piece of the tape off the roll, stick it down to a piece of wax paper, and then slice right up the length. And that way it will reduce the chances of you getting sticky on your scissors. And if you do get sticky on your scissors, you can use Goo Gone, Goof Off, or lighter fluid to wipe it away. It is kind of a pain. It's much better just to not get your scissors sticky to begin with, but if you do, that's a great solution. I was going to edit this out, but I managed to gab the entire time I was removing the sticky sides. Wonders never cease. Alright, and I'm just going to put that right on top there. There we go. And cut this out. Again, with my straight edge office shears, which I bought for like 69 cents at Martin's. It was quite a fantastic deal. If I do say so myself, I bought, and of course I bought like 15 pair or something because I'm insane and I'm a craft hoarder apparently. But look, isn't that sweet? I just love that. It's so cute. Okay, so now this is going to go on our on our card that we just stamped, just like so. I'm going to use my adhesive runner for this. It's kind of tricky to put the adhesive on something that's got like no support in the middle, though. I have to say it's kind of weird. But I don't like to put the adhesive directly on the card in case I go too far and then I've got like glue boogers hanging out. I don't like that. All right, just center that up. You can probably hear my chickens. I had a flood in my basement studio yesterday, so I have the door open to kind of help air and dry everything out. Turn the dehumidifier back on after I shut the door. I just think sometimes inking the edges just gives it a little bit of a finished look. Totally up to you whether you want to do it or not. Now, if you're anything like me and you have craft hoarding tendencies, you've probably stocked up on this stuff when it was, you know, $4 or $5 for $1 at the craft store before. This delightful, thin, narrow ribbon. Oh my gosh, I have so many rolls of this. I seriously need an intervention. So I'm going to do a little bow here, but I'm going to leave my ends a little long because it always seems like we need to have a little extra ribbon when we want to tie a bow, right? But I hate to cut that off and then throw it away or save it because I'm a craft hoarder. And we're actually going to use the additional ribbon here on this card in a fun little technique here. So first I'm just going to tie a tiny bow with my fingers. I bruised a finger yesterday. I bruised my little pinky on this side yesterday. When I was cranking something through my die cut machine, everything toppled on my head off of a shelf, and I don't know what fell on my finger. I think it was a die maybe, or a die plate or something, but it is sore today, I'm telling you. So yeah, I need to rethink my hoarding ways, I think. So I got our little bow there, and you can adjust it, you can move it if you want to, completely up to you. But I am going to just pull down the ends. I want my bow to be perkier up at the top though. I think I'm going to pull it up a little bit higher. If you open up your card, it'll be a little easier to adjust your bow. And then I'm going to pull the ends down. I gotta even that up a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to pull my ends down so they kind of crisscross here. Oh, that's pretty. And then I'm going to use a clothespin to hold it just where I want it. And I'm going to hold it just under the knot. Just get it exactly how you want it. Or I could go just above the knot. It doesn't matter as long as you've got that crisscross area exposed. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to take a little embellishment. You can use whatever you want, but I have like a hoard of, believe it or not, little satin flowers. And I thought for a wedding it'd be really sweet to do this. I've got weddings on the way and I got good friends getting married, so, you know, be prepared to be overrun by wedding projects. There's a little bit of glue there. And then it's going to trap our little ribbon ends down so they don't go wandering or look weird. It's going to keep them where they belong. And by holding that in place with the clothespin, keeps our fingers from getting burned, and it just kind of holds everything so we don't have to sit around and wait for glue to dry. So then when you're all done here, so that's magic of YouTube. When you're all done, all you have to do is either put a gift card or a little money envelope in here. And I just think these are so sweet. This has the symbol for double happiness on there, which I always think, I like it for weddings. I hope that's appropriate to use it that way. But I think that it's so lovely, and it's such a nice way to gift some money to somebody. And they do come in different colors here. I'll show you some of them from artneco.com. The papers, the stamps, everything I'm using here except for the ink is available there, or I'm sure you have it in your own stash. But I just think that it's really sweet. It's nice and it's elegant and it's really classy looking. So I take our little clip off there. You can see we can put, I just like the pink because it matches, but you could use whatever. Actually, you know what? The gold would be pretty too. I'm going to try the gold. That would be really pretty because purple and yellowy gold are complementary colors, so they kind of pop. Oh, that looks nice too. I like that too. I don't know. What do you guys like better? Let me know in the comments below. And please check out our sponsor, artneco.com. You can save 10% on your order by mentioning the Frugal Crafter. I'll put all that information in the video description as well as links. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.